Welcome back, watch fans. This is an important video that could affect your health, so pay very close attention. There is a disease, a virus spreading through the watch collecting community. It is being transmitted by the Muppet Boiler Room channels. Okay, it is called it's called the tomato can syndrome. The tomato can syndrome. What is this? Okay, it is the problem with these double-signed dials, as they call them, specifically these Tiffany dials. So look. Patek Philippe, they sell a bunch of watches to Tiffany or Bayer or Trucchi or whatever retailer out there, and they put a little line there at the bottom, right? Historically, they did that. I think only Tiffany is the last one that's doing this, or maybe Bayer, however you want to pronounce it. And why are people paying this massive premium for a Tiffany signature? 300 grand plus, right? So these are, obviously these prices are a little bit inflated. 300 grand for a little line that says Tiffany, whereas the same watch, the same tomato can metal watch is selling for, let's call it in the 80s without the Tiffany signature, okay? And by the way, I'm being kind saying signature. It's just a stamped line of text that they added that says Tiffany. Now, yes, there's fewer of them, but big deal. What value does it really add? So again, the Muppet Boiler Rooms, all these huckster dealers, these flim-flammers, they are all in cahoots trying to create this hype around this, this double-signed thing apparently, right? Now, look, there has been retailer double signatures for decades, as far as I know. By the way, look, even though I'm a graduate of the Patel Philippe Watchmakers Academy, with my diploma signed by Philippe Starr himself, I don't claim to be an expert on all things Patek Philippe, right? But as far as I know, they were doing these signatures. I mean, going back 100 years. I mean, back to those gondolo Pateks in. That they were selling in Brazil, in the 1950s. There's a bunch of weird retailers, that they sold through. By the way, before we get into this, on the wrist we have the Patek Philippe 3940G perpetual calendar, the top G of watches. This is the be-all, end-all. I'm sorry. This is really it. After this, it all goes downhill. Now, yes, specifically goes downhill with the Nautilus. Now, I actually came across. I was at a show in Miami. I came across a Patek. It was like an ellipse. It was not even an ellipse. It was like a weird model, and it had like a signature of the retailer. It was some oddball store in the Midwest. And the watch had some damage, and the price was a little high, so I passed on it. I saw some Bayer dials, but it's just a gimmick, okay? It's not worth paying 3 times the money for. Again, why are people paying almost 4 times the money here? 3-4 times the money. So if you want the rose gold, these guys are asking, these Muppet Boiler Rooms are asking 400 grand almost. The same watch without it is 90 grand. Again, these are all inflated prices as it is. This is, these Muppet Boiler Rooms on Chrono 24. Look, you do not need to have the word Tiffany on the watch. It adds nothing. Okay, they don't add anything to the mechanics of the watch. They don't add any nothing special. Now, yes, Bayer. Okay, let me kind of sidetrack. Bayer did have some special editions. A couple of retailers have had special editions where they did a couple of little extra things. They may have had a slightly different hand, maybe a different metal. Yes, those things could be unique, and I could see paying a little bit of a premium. But in a case like this, there is nothing special about this watch. They did nothing. They just have a little line that says Tiffany. And Tiffany has been doing that for years. I mean, they've put their stamp on, Timex watches that they sold. I mean, I don't know if they sold Timexes, but they sold a lot of shitter watches. I mean, Tiffany has sold shitter watches through the years, quartz shitters and most of the shitters, which they added their name to, which they were proud to sell to the suckers who buy at Tiffany. Okay, look, the person who pays retail at Tiffany is basically it's a sucker. Okay, if you're buying at Tiffany, you're basically a sucker. That's really what you are. Because again, if you're buying a diamond at Tiffany, you can get this. I mean, listen, you can go on 47th Street, you get the same exact rock for 70% less if it doesn't come in that blue box. And by the way, what you should do is, if you're looking to buy, your wife, your fiance, whatever, an engagement ring, what you should do is you should buy a used Tiffany box, okay? Get yourself a lab-grown diamond, and you go and get a band, and get Tiffany stamped in there. There's guys who'll do it for a couple bucks, and you save yourself, I don't know, a ton of cash, right? You can probably get a nice lab-grown diamond, which is absolutely perfect for, I don't know, probably $2,000 for like a 3-carat diamond. You don't want to probably go bigger than that, right? $2,000 versus a Tiffany one might cost you, I don't know, 30 grand, $30,000. So what's the smarter move? Take that extra cash and buy yourself a Patek Philippe. I mean, at the end of the day, you're the one that's actually paying for this, right? So, you got to be smart about these things. And listen, nobody's going to know, and nobody's going to be the wiser, until, your wife wants to sell the ring, probably after you getting divorced. At that point, you're not going to care, right? So, back to this. The tomato can disease is something that you need to be aware of. There is no reason to be paying a premium. Now, look, it is nice. It's a nice touch to have this little tomato can stamp that says Tiffany. It's a nice touch. I get it. It's a nice little touch to have on the watch. So how much should you be paying for that, though? How much should you pay to have this tomato can stamp on your watch? In my opinion, it should be no more than 10%. No more than 10%. Whether it's Bayer, Tiffany, I'd love to get a Nautilus personally. Not a Nautilus. An Ellipse. Personally, I would love to have an Ellipse with the Trucchi signature. Because, I love staying at the Excelsior hotel in Napoli, as featured in The Sopranos, actually. But yeah, great hotel in Naples, Italy. Good value if you come at the right time. Well, actually, anytime. It's actually very good value overlooking the Bay of Naples. Real old school charm. It's you may have some paint peeling in certain areas, but beautiful place, beautiful location. Just make sure that they don't have that street crossing thing that goes off for blind people. It makes that noise like It goes off on weekends and it's very loud. So you make sure you tell them to shut it off. But anyway, the Trucchi Ellipse is one I would love because, again, they got that beautiful clock. When you go to the lobby of the hotel, you check in, and they got that Ellipse wall clock hanging up there, and it says Trucchi. It's just a thing. How much would I pay extra? I would pay 20% extra, maybe even 25%, just because I'm a bit of a tomato can myself. But why would anybody pay this type of money for that little thing that says Tiffany? You have to be a moron. You have to be a complete moron. And there are complete morons out there. Probably some of you watching this right now are some of those morons. It is absolutely insanity. And by the way, while I'm on the subject, again, I've been saying this. The Nautilus it's the Emperor has no clothes. This really is an old design. It's a tacky, it's a kitschy design. This really was not Gerald Genta's best, okay? The Royal Oak is really where he peaked, and he tried to carry over that kitschy design to a couple of other designs also. Not just the Nautilus. He did I forgot what it was, but he did a couple of other these seafaring designs, these mariner designs, whatever you want to call it, the seamen designs, and they're kind of kitschy. They're kitschy. On the Royal Oak, it actually works because it just works. It's clean. There's form follows function. Right here, you got these stupid ears. What are these ears for? You got these ears. Now, you see, you got this kind of octagonal shape vaguely that's rounded. It's a rounded octagonal. I kind of get that, and because it's like a port window. Yeah, I know the whole story. The port window. I had a old boat and I had the port window. Not like this, but a smaller one, and it would leak. So a little oval shaped one. And yeah, this is stupid. This is really stupid. There's no point to it because again, this is not an old porthole window, whatever you want to call it. It's not. It's a watch. There's no point to this. It's just it's kitschy. It's a gimmick, okay? And it has no place on a modern Swiss watch because look, the Swiss are all about efficiency, right? Form follows function. That is my philosophy, and you see this on the Top G, the 3940. This, in my opinion, is the perfect watch. Now, what would I do different on this watch? I think some of the fonts could be better. The numbers, they're not the best. Patek is not the best at doing numbers on their, the fonts are not the best. On the the Nautilus, I like those Euro style font that they have on like those 80s Nautilus models. Then they changed it a couple times to a serif font, which is kind of hokey. And they have this font, which is really, I don't know, kind of basic. Doesn't do anything for anybody. I mean, this is really a very basic bitch font. I mean, you're paying this type of money, you're paying 90 grand for a basic bitch font like that? Come on. I mean, really, this is a travesty. But here, again, you have this very clean, basic design. You see the time moving in the context. And, actually, I had a very strong debate with a crayon eater who's a Langenzonen collector. And, he's got this giant hockey puck on his wrist. And he thinks that is the epitome of, high horology, haute horology. And you know what? I don't know. Maybe, listen, I don't know. Maybe there's something, might be more of a sophisticated movement. Who knows? Who cares? But my point to him was, when I'm wearing a perpetual calendar, the value, what I'm paying for is I want to see time in context. In other words, where I am relative to the year, the month, and the day. So here I can see where I am in the month. I can see I'm halfway through the month, right? Or past halfway. As the thing goes around in that circle, just like we see, the time going around in a 12 dial, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So I can see I'm halfway through the month. I am at the start of the calendar year. We're in February. I can see that we're at the beginning of the year. So I can see how much time I have, how much time has elapsed, how much time is left. That is my point. Where are we in the week? I see we're at Monday. I see, where we are in the week. That is the beauty of a perpetual calendar with these rotary dials instead of the stupid window dials, the stupid window things that Patek is doing because they're trying to be modern or whatever. I don't know. It's just goofy. But yeah, look, don't be a sucker. Don't be a crayon eater. Don't be a window licker. Don't lick the windows at Tiffany. Don't be a Tiffany window licker. Okay, this is look, at the end of the day, Tiffany. It's a women's brand. It's a women's brand. Why are why are guys, why are, men, heterosexual males, going bananas for a Tiffany watch? It's really just a scam company. They're just a retailer selling overpriced garbage. Their big money comes from selling, silver jewelry, at, 10 times markup over cost or more even, right? I mean that's where they make the money, from selling to tomato cans like you who buy into that little blue box. They like that robin's egg blue. It's a scam, okay? It's a scam. You're suckers, okay? I'm breaking the news to you. You're suckers. You're getting played. You're window lickers and crayon eaters. Okay, now I get it. If the ladies like the Tiffany thing because they've been sold this scam for the last 100 years. They've been sold this Tiffany scam for the last 100 years with Audrey Hepburn, the breakfast at Tiffany's. By the way, Audrey Hepburn, does anybody realize that story was basically about a whore? Audrey Hepburn was basically a whore. I mean, they were glamorizing this 1950s movie was basically glamorizing a prostitute, a sugar baby. This whore was basically renting herself out to various gentlemen callers who were paying her rent, paying for this, paying for that. She was, hanging out at Tiffany, hoping to find the big whale, hoping to land that big whale. That's right. That's what the movie was all about. And this is supposed to be some romantic movie. I mean, that's pretty twisted. It really tells us something about society when you think about it. But look, women have been sold a bill of goods, by different brands. And look, it's just it's a different mindset. The female brain, the male brain, they operate differently. There's a value for having the Tiffany thing for women. Because there's some romantic notion about being a prostitute that's associated with Tiffany, going back to Audrey Hepburn. And here we have, basically the same thing. But, guys who are falling for this are the ultimate crayon eaters. And if you have one of these dials, you have a Tiffany dial, I would suggest you sell it right now. You're going to get top dollar. It is all downhill from here, okay? When people realize this is a scam, these things are going to drop to a normal premium of maybe 10%. Look, it's always going to be special. It's always going to have a special place in the world. It's always going to be a little bit special, no question. Tiffany always will be special, but it's only going to have a premium of maybe 10%, in my opinion. Just like Bayer or any of these other brands have. Unless they did something special, like this monstrosity here. I mean, who's paying for this garbage? Who would pay? I mean, I don't know if this is a joke. Is this a joke? 170 pieces, a limited edition in steel, going for a couple $1 million for having this thing. I mean, it's based. Actually, is it a joke? Well, look, I could see it kind of making sense because there's only going to be 170 window lickers who buy this, right? And there's a lot of guys with a lot of money, and the Patel Philippe brand has actually it is they've built a reputation. They have built a reputation, and yes, the real brand name is Patel Philippe. As I revealed, it is not Patek. It was originally Patel Philippe, named after Gurminder Patel, who was the co-founder of the company, and they changed it to Patek to make it more European sounding. In the around early 1900s is when they changed it, and that's right. The original Patel dials are actually very valuable. Very valuable. I actually have a pocket watch that says Patel Philippe, which I will be selling through Philips sometime next year maybe. But look, I get it. There's 170 tomato cans out there, crayon eaters, who'd pay for it because it is a bit of a flex thing. And if you're spending this type of money, it really is a different mindset. It's like, look, I'm not at that level at this moment in time. Maybe I will be there next year, but it's more of a speculation. This is really a speculation. People who are buying this are really just, they're speculating based on, what they expect could happen with an auction or whatever. This is basically guys who are speculating on contemporary art, like buying some tomato can painting that was selling for 50 grand in a gallery last year, and now it's going for 200 grand at auction, and they think it's going to go for $1 million. Whatever. It's just nonsense. Anyway, look, let me know what you knuckleheads think. Leave your vicious comments below. I'll see you all in the next one.